Morning, happy Monday. I'm here with my intuition video for the week and had a lot going on, a lot of intuitive self-reflection myself. Been busy doing a lot of writing over the weekend, working on a book that I've been working on for a long time, collecting a lot of poetry, collecting a lot of things I've written over my last 25 years in life. And one of the things that really is coming to me, hey Amy, hope you're liking Wyoming, is this need for rigorous honesty in our lives. And I'll share a little bit about my history, but what I want to focus on is being aware of the gap that we have in our lives between who we really are and who we are presenting to the world. And the goal is to close that gap as much as possible so that who we are presenting to the world is who we really are. And doing that takes a lot of rigorous honesty. So just a little bit of history, I've talked about this before, but I come from a family of generations of family trauma. And in having that means there's been a lot of secrets. And what my family has learned, and I'm not meaning just my immediate family, I'm talking about generations back, what they learned how to do is put the trauma aside and show up into life and do. But what happens when you have all these secrets and all this trauma that's gone on, some of it is from war, some of it has been from abuse in the family, some of it has been from mental illness in our family, but what has happened is it's created this gap of who we really are and who we're presenting to the world. And for me, I feel like at a very young age, I was very in tune with that gap being not what I wanted. I wanted some honesty in my life. And a lot of the people around me couldn't do that. And so at 23, I'll just tell you kind of where this launched me into where I am even today. At 23 years old, I was really, really unhappy. I was doing all the things that I was supposed to be doing. I was attending college. I had a job actually at a treatment center, which I think really helped me in this area. So working with kids, teenagers and young children who came from very traumatic families or maybe had some illnesses going on themselves. And on the outside, I really looked like I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing, but on the inside, I was really hurting and I felt like I was dying emotionally and spiritually. I didn't know that at the time, but I started seeking a way to feel better. And I am a firm believer in my own history that when we start seeking anything, the teachers will show up. And luckily in my life, a man showed up, not like a boyfriend or whatever, an older gentleman who I happened to meet. And he told me things that were rigorously honest. Now, I was ready to hear them because I wanted to have a different way of life. I was determined in a place of being open to hearing what he said. And he said things like this: honey, you're so sick, you don't even know you're sick. And he was talking about me internally being sick. I didn't have an illness, I didn't have anything, but I did have emotional sickness. I was emotionally bankrupt. I was emotionally and spiritually searching for something. At 23, I already felt this. And he told me things like that, like, honey, you're so sick, you don't even know you're sick. And then he told me, but when you straighten out spiritually, you'll straighten out mentally and physically. And I was like, I'm in. And that was when I began a process of being rigorously honest in my life and also seeking to be spiritual. I'm not religious. If someone is religious and that works for them, all the more to it. It doesn't for me, but I am spiritual and I take from different parts of principles and apply them to my life, and it's totally worked for me. So what I'm talking about is being really rigorously honest with yourself. I think that we live and we have lived for generations in a not knowing how to deal with honesty. And we present a picture, and some people have to. My grandparents came back from World War II, like many people of that time. suffering from a lot of trauma, and they had to get into life, they had to take care of themselves, and they had babies to raise, and I get all of that. But I really, and I've been talking about this all year, we are in a time of awakening. We are in a time of emotional intelligence. So that old way of living is not working anymore. It didn't work then either, because I think a lot of people suffered internally, but I feel like we are waking up as in humanity to really want to drink in our emotional wellness and spiritual wellness. And so how do we do that? How do we do that? Well, being open to honesty. Now, it was a challenge, and it has been a challenge for me with the people around me when I first started this journey on honesty, because not many people in my family wanted to talk about anything. Didn't want to talk about a lot of the secrets. Luckily, my grandmother at the end of her life was like, okay, I'll sit down, and she told me a lot of the secrets. And in doing that, when we tell our stories, when we tell our truth, when we really can find people in our lives who can hear it, life changes for us. We start to feel better. We've kind of been conditioned. I feel like I saw it in the treatment center. I've seen it, we've been conditioned to, put on a good face and, be tough or hold it in. Or if we cry, we're weak. That's all not true. And that's the other thing. So when we're closing this gap between who we are and who we present, we have to do some self-reflection. We have to look at our beliefs. Are these beliefs working for us? Are they ours? Are they somebody else's? I mean, I had a lot of beliefs that I had to let go of that were not mine. And they were like passed on to me. And when we do that, when we can close that gap, we start to feel like we're entering into the place that we're meant to be here. And we do straighten out mentally and physically, because we're straightening out spiritually first. And for me, spiritually has nothing more to do with than being honest with yourself and being honest with that we are here all connected in this world, and our place in life does matter, and we have value and purpose, and that no matter what's going on in our life, we have a role to play. And if we can be rigorously honest with ourselves first and then take that out into the world, we are making rapid changes in ourselves and the people around us. And so this is kind of a big concept. It was huge in my writing yesterday on intuition. And I'm constantly working and looking at intuition. And intuition always surprises me. And it always comes first before my thoughts. I don't know how else to explain this, but yesterday I just had this, I just wanted to stay home and write. I didn't want to do anything else. I wanted to stay home and work on my book. And I did. I stayed home and I worked on my book. And I worked on a piece of my book that has to do with a few of my areas of my family that was really important. And then later on, I was supposed to go meet some friends, my intuition book club. And I just didn't want to go. My intuition was like, no, just stay home. And I stayed home, and as I was home, I got a call from one of my family members that a very close family member of mine got some not so good news on her health, and she's been ill all summer, and it's been really a powerful thing for me and her. We've been able to connect in a way that we weren't, but it was really hard to hear, and I knew my intuition was prepping me for this information. Our intuition always knows before we walk into something. So my focus for the week is, again, rigorous honesty with myself. Am I bringing out into the world who I really am here? And is my gap big or is it small? And self-reflection, continuously self-reflection, writing in our journals every day. I write every day. Helps me to be in self-reflection all the time. It also helps me to have restraint of pen and tongue with people who are possibly struggling with their own honesty in life and maybe being attacking. I don't have to respond. That's very helpful. Writing is very helpful. Hi, Karen. I'm going to read her quote. I am not a body. I am free, for I am still as God created me. Great. This is my intuition buddies. Hi, Jean. there's so much I want to say about closing this gap, and I'm sure we'll spend some time on it, but rigorous honesty, self-reflection. There was a third thing that I'm blanking out on, so I guess I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I hope you have a good week. I'll be back on Friday. I'm also saving these videos on YouTube, so if you do want to go back, I'll post the link. You can watch them. Some of them are long, some of them are short, but let's get honest. Let's get honest with who we really are and take that out into the world and help make the world a better place. Have a good week. I'll talk to you Friday.